Why would a girl care to find herself when she'll never be able to make herself feel as good as a guy can? Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah. So I am sick, it is my reading break, and so I don't have school this week, and it is pouring rain outside, and I am in my pajamas, but it's November 9th. And so I needed to talk to you guys about something, and that something is November 9th by Colleen Hoover. So this started out as a project where I wanted to read some more new adult, and I put it on my Twitter that I wanted new adult recommendations. So I wasn't sure what to pick up, and I decided to pick up some Colleen Hoover because she's like the queen of new adult. So I was looking through the synopsis of different books that she's written, and this one was on Book Outlet for really cheap, and it had good reviews from some people that I trust, and I didn't want to get the new one without merit because I've heard some bad things about that one, so I was just deciding to give this one a go. And then I remembered that this is the book that Caleb, one of my favorite booktubers of all time, I'm like obsessed with him. I'll link his channel below. If you don't follow him, oh my god, you have to watch his videos. He's so freaking funny. Anyways, point being, I remembered that this is the book that he hates. So I did have that in mind going in, but I really wasn't planning on reading this to like hate read it. I mean, obviously I'm not going to pick up a book just because I want to hate it. But this is the one I ended up getting to start my new adult journey, and yeah, I didn't like it. I did get some footage of me when I was actually reading the book because I wasn't planning on doing that, but I got to certain parts and I just knew I had to like tell someone how I was feeling about it. So if those mesh well with this video, I'm going to insert them when I'm talking about the different parts just because they're like super authentic, like in the moment feelings while reading this book. Of course, this is going to have spoilers. I don't think you should care if you haven't read it because I would highly recommend not reading it. But if you love Colleen Hoover and this is one on your list or something, then yeah, I am going to be talking about spoilers because we really need to talk about this book. We really need to talk about how everybody loves this book, and it's one of the most problematic things I've ever read in my entire life. So, non-spoiler people, go away now. Don't read this though. Like, normally it's like, go away, read it, and come back. No, don't go away and read it. In fact, just stay right here and I'll just tell you why you shouldn't read it. And yeah, this video is dedicated to Caleb because he was freaking right, everyone. He was like the only person I've ever seen hate on this book on YouTube, and I should have listened. I should have listened. So this book is about our main character Fallon, and she got into a really bad fire 2 years ago, so she's very burnt on one side of her face and down her body. And she is in a restaurant with her dad, and they are talking, and the dad's kind of saying that she can't pursue acting anymore because she's like ugly, I guess, and how she hasn't been on a date and all this stuff. And then our other main character, Ben, overhears that from another booth, and so he slides into their booth and he like pretends to be Fallon's boyfriend to like prove the dad wrong, I guess. So that's where we start, and then they have the day together, but Fallon is moving to New York the next day, and so they decide that because Ben is a writer and he wants to write a book, that they're gonna meet up every November 9th for the next 5 years on November 9th only, and Ben's gonna write a book about it. But so things really started to go downhill for me on page 45, and if I have a clip of me reading this, I'm going to insert it here. But basically what happens is he's taking her to dinner, he goes home to help her pack. They don't know each other, first of all, they just met, but he goes home to help her pack and he's going to take her to dinner. And she is like, I'm going to wear this dress that has long sleeves because she always wears long sleeves because she has burns and she's very self-conscious about them. And he says, no, I want you to wear this, and he like gives her one with like no straps that her, that she doesn't wear. And she says, no, I don't want to wear that. And he says, I'm paying for dinner, so I get to choose what to stare at while we eat. And this line is so indicative of the entire personality of this character, Ben. Like, this is just, from then on, this is exactly what he is like for the entire freaking book. First of all, I think it's really funny that it's not worded, so I get to choose what you wear, which is just as bad, but it's very indicative that he makes it about him. Like, I get to choose what I look at, kind of thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, over, like, I get to choose what you wear. And that's how he acts the whole book. So he doesn't necessarily say, like, you have to do this. He does kind of, yeah. But he says it in a way that it's, like, about him. Like, he's like, you have to take your shirt off because I deserve to see your scars because I'm writing a book. Like, he's just very entitled. Anyways, moving on. Can't even talk about that anymore. So then 2 pages later on page 49, this is when I was like, I didn't know if I was going to make it through the book, folks. Hello, everybody. I just read possibly the worst chapter of anything I have ever read in my entire life. And so then they go into the closet and he starts unbuttoning her shirt, which is fine as long as, like, you know, she wants it to happen. Like, I have nothing against unbuttoning of shirts. But she starts to cry while he does this. Like, a tear falls down her cheek. And I get that what is trying to be portrayed here is that she's just super nervous because she's so, like, insecure about her burns, which is fine. And I honestly wouldn't even be, like, that against a scene where somebody cries while their body's being revealed, because that can be a very emotional experience. But, like, he doesn't even ask her if she's okay or if she wants what he's doing. He just continues to take off all her clothes while she cries. Like, it literally says my mascara is probably running because that's how much she's freaking crying while he undresses her. This is disgusting. This is so bad. So then he undresses her and she literally thinks at one point, this is going too far. So she recognizes that she's, like, not okay with it. Too far, too far, too far. But all I can do is suck in a wild breath and let his fingers pop open the buttons on my jeans because I wish he would stop. But I feel like he's not undressing me for pleasure. Girl, it doesn't matter why he's undressing you. Like, if you don't, if I wasn't reading this for the purpose of reviewing it, I would DNF this book right now. Like, this is just, no. So then she cries, and guess what? He wasn't undressing her for pleasure. He was undressing her to put the fucking dress that he wanted her to wear that she doesn't want to wear on her. So he gets her naked, and then he literally says, raise your arms. She doesn't. He says, raise your arms, please, and puts the freaking dress. Like, I hate him with literally every fiber of who I am right now. Like, I just, Like, I would just hope that if someone was crying while you were doing something like that, you would, like, stop to ask, you okay? I mean, I know we don't know each other. We met, like, 2 minutes ago, but are you okay? Oh, and then my fave line of the whole book, which is another indicative line of Fallon's entire character. So we have Ben, who wants to decide what you wear so that he gets to look at it. And then we have Fallon, who, why would a girl care to find herself when she'll never be able to make herself feel as good as a guy can? I don't know, Fallon. So the next two are pretty uneventful. The second one is basically just building on their relationship a bit. She goes and visits him, blah, 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 blah. And then on the third one, he calls and says he can't come because his brother just got in a car accident and died. So she surprises him and shows up in LA. He was supposed to come to New York that year, and which is good, like, that's fine. But things get real strange from there. So first of all, his brother died 2 days ago, and his brother's pregnant wife is living in the house with them, and she's obviously upset. And he, like, doesn't even care. Like, he literally doesn't cry, and he's more concerned with whether or not they're gonna have sex for the first time that night than he is with the fact that, like, the brother's dead, which is just weird. And I mean, that whole thing, I can't even get into it. It's just the classic. It's so beautiful. Oh, also, he says, when she says she's a virgin, he says, thank you for this beautiful gift. If authors could stop talking about virginity as a gift, anytime now. Any day, guys. Like, any day. Yeah, so it's basically, like, that's indicative of what this whole entire scene is like. Like, yeah. It was so beautiful. Our bodies melded together. And then she says, I want you to be my first and my last. I don't want to sleep with anyone but you because I would be slutty then. And then the next November 9, they meet up in New York, or in LA. And he is dating his brother's wife, like his dead brother's wife, who's alive. And she had the baby and they're raising it together. That's so creepy. Like, somebody agree with me. Is that not creepy? If I died and my sister started dating my boyfriend, like, that's so creepy. They meet again. after the year after she finds out that he's dating his, I guess, sister-in-law, she isn't speaking to him, and she's not planning to meet up with him this November 9 because she's pissed. And he tracks her down in a club, and she has a new boyfriend too, but he doesn't care. So he takes her to like the side room and they start making out and everything's getting heated and like, oh my god. And she says, stop it. She says, stop it. Because her boyfriend's out in the freaking club and she doesn't want to do whatever they're doing. Which she doesn't want to do it the entire book and he doesn't stop. So why do we expect him to stop now? I don't know. I can't even open to the page because I know exactly what page it is. But I can't even look at it. He says, I'm trying. Ask me again. All I'm gonna say is when somebody says stop, I'm trying, ask me again is not the correct answer. I know she's apologized for having this and it's like gonna get cut, I think, from the next edition, but it's in the edition I read, so I think I have a right to criticize it. So on the 5th, November 9, they're finally together. He's broken up with this other girl because he can't be with anyone besides Fallon. Blah, 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 blah. And then she wakes up in the morning and she goes downstairs and she finds the manuscript to his book, which she hasn't read and I don't even think she knew it existed. So she starts reading it. And it turns out, folks, he was the one who set the fire that burned her when she was 16. So she's clearly pissed because, you know, he was lying to her this entire time about who he was, and she's starting to think, like, was he in that restaurant on purpose? Because also, I forgot to mention that November 9 is the anniversary of the fire as well. So, like, did he hunt her down on the anniversary to meet her? Like, was that the reason he was even in the restaurant when they met in the first place? Like, she's just, like, pissed. So she runs off, and he's like, oh my god, no! Oh my god, no! Fallon, oh my god, it's not like what it seems that, like, it is. Like, read the manuscript. Read it. Read the manuscript. It'll make it all better. I have a tragic backstory. You need to read it. Do you want to know what's really sick about this? Is that okay, he burned her, he had a tragic backstory, and that's why he followed him to the restaurant, that's why he slid in and came into her life. But he spent this entire book being like, I'm gonna make you self-confident again, and I'm gonna make you love your scars. There's no way he wasn't doing it for his own conscience. Like, he was trying to make her feel good about herself, to make him feel better about what he did to her. Which is worse than when he was just doing it to make her feel better, but, like, either way's bad. This way is worse. So she like takes the manuscript and then she has it for the entire year and she doesn't read it. So then we skip to the 6th, November 9th, and her mom's like reading it or something and she's like, you have to read this, Fallon. Like, it redeems him. Like, he has a tragic backstory. And she is reading the manuscript, and this is where it's solidified that this is my least favorite book, I think, of all time. First of all, so his mom's committed suicide, and he finds out that he like sees in her emails or whatever that she was dating some guy, and he thinks that's the reason she committed suicide, and some guy was Fallon's father, who is an asshole. And so he goes and hunts this guy down, and he's watching him, and he hates him, and whatever, and so he sets the fire onto his car. He only means to burn down his car, and then it spreads to the house. And it burns, and then Fallon gets burned. I have two big issues with this. The first one is just clearly, I don't think it's an excuse. He was 16 years old. It's a criminal fire that he sent, and if the law doesn't give you an excuse, which it doesn't for this, then I don't think Fallon should give him an excuse, and I don't think the reader should give him an excuse, because you set a criminal fire, you set a criminal fire. That's just a fact. Like, it doesn't matter why. But where the real problem comes in is in the fact that he hunted them down, and that's how he met Fallon. So he was in the restaurant on purpose because he saw the guy and his daughter, like, he would just happen to be walking by, and he was like, oh, I want to know, like, how badly she's burned, because he knew there was a victim of the fire. He saw it on the news. And he didn't say anything. And To me, that just gave me a new perspective, I guess, on the entire book. Because a lot of this book is him being like, Fallon, you should be confident, like, own your scars, like he always, like, wants her to undress and stuff. Starts from the very first page when he wants her to wear that dress. And it's about him giving her confidence. He was doing it the entire time for himself. And I don't think anyone who can argue with me on that. Like, he felt guilty about what he did to her, so he entered her life, and he made it his mission to make her feel good about the scars that he caused. If you feel bad about what you did when you were 16, which you should maybe, like, do the adult thing and either find her and apologize, or report it to the police, or some other grown-up ass thing, rather than inserting yourself into her life and, like, whatever, meeting up with her once a year and making her feel confident and loving her and never telling her that you... I'm sorry, I'm getting riled up, but... So, as if that's bad enough, what he did, her reaction to it might even be worse, because she reads it and she says, so she read it and she's like, first of all, she says a prayer as she's reading it for the brothers, like, who lost their mom. She's like, oh my god, I feel so bad for them, like, this is so tragic, what a tragic backstory. And then she says, I know I should be angry that he's lied to me for so long. Also, Fallon, maybe you want to be angry that he burnt you, but whatever. But being in his head is somehow justifying his behavior to me. Justifying. Okay. And not only that, but it's also justifying my father's behavior. So basically this book ends with her forgiving two people who have treated her like crap and lied to her entire life. And she is just so weak that she just forgives them. In fact, she doesn't just forgive them. On the next page, she goes to talk to him after a year, and she doesn't just forgive him. She apologizes to him. I'm sorry. He didn't even get an apology out yet because she was so flustered when she read it a year ago that she just kind of stormed out and he was like, read it, read it. And then now she's back apologizing to him. No, Fallon, you have absolutely nothing to apologize for. This is not romantic. This is a story of a man with a tragic backstory who stalks someone, inserts himself into her life to make himself feel better and to boost her self-confidence because he feels so bad that he burnt her, and then to control her entire life, to push her past sexual boundaries that she wasn't ready to go past. Clearly, it's written in the book, in her head, she wanted to stop, and he never does because he feels entitled to her body because he scarred it. That's how I read this book. I hate it. I was getting a little riled up there at the end, but hopefully I got my points across. I am tired of the tragic backstory of a guy excusing all of the shitty things he does. I am tired of a girl with no self-confidence gaining it through men. I am tired of consent just being trampled all over by authors. And I don't know if I'm ever going to read New Adult again. Like, let me know if all New Adult is like this, because if it is, I'm freaking out, guys. I'm freaking out. I am going adult, YA, and nothing in between. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and I know people are going to be mad because they love Colleen Hoover, but I don't apologize for my opinions, so I hope I've justified them enough at least. Anyways guys, thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!